I spent my junior year in college abroad in Stockholm, Sweden. Among the memorable highlights of that 6 month period, in addition to playing in a rock band and learning how to smoke hash mixed with tobacco in a chillum pipe, was my growing fascination with trains. I lived in a suburb of Stockholm in a small studio apartment, which I rented for $60 a month. I experienced the joys of commuting by tunnelbana or subway. My 20-minute excursion each way was mind-boggling because about half the subway drivers were women. Who would have imagined that in 1970, women could be allowed to drive trains? Just the fact of it made me feel that more was possible in life than I had imagined. I returned home in 1972, graduated from Mills College, a women's college in Oakland, where I had learned that I had as much right to a meaningful job as a man did. I was foundering, working mindlessly as a waitress at the Dutch kitchen of the St. Francis Hotel in downtown San Francisco. Then I managed to join a film acting workshop taught by a group of leftist socialist filmmakers. They were part of a political collective called Cine Manifest. I was already politically sensitized, a card carrying protester against the war in Vietnam, and a bra burning feminist. But somehow, learning about socialism made me more determined to not stay in a dead end, okay for chicks job. I totally embraced Workers of the World Unite and wanted to impress my cute and sexy comrades by joining the working class. I'd been reading about the new Bay Area rapid transit system that was building a subway line in the Bay Area. I remembered how joyful I had felt in Sweden with the female subway drivers, so I applied for a job as a train operator. Part of my desire to drive a train was my genuine love of trains and travel, but if I'm honest, a much greater stimulus was to rebel against my parents and my upper middle class upbringing. I wanted to smash my good girl mold and remake myself into Rosie the Riveter. After applying, I got back a response from BART saying that they didn't hire women for that position, but I was welcome to apply to be a station agent. My feminist hackles were raised, and I told him I would get a lawyer and we'd see how their gender discrimination policy, see about their gender discrimination policies. I was really getting up ahead of steam when, lo and behold, they offered me a position as a train attendant in the first off the street training class. Every class before ours had been made up of former bus and train drivers, union members, in other words. It turned out that for this class, they had hired the niece of one of their managers, and as the spell had been broken, I became the fourth woman hired. All four women trained together. We offered each other comfort and support, which was necessary as we were combating hostility and harassment from our former Teamster colleagues. Their point was, of course we could do the job. It wasn't really that hard. But no way should we be paid the same. After all, we weren't supporting families. The physical requirements during our training were quite stringent. We needed very good upper body strength, as part of the training was to lie on the floor of the train car, hang out open the door over the edge, and push down on a T mechanism to manually unlock all the doors in the car in case of emergency. It was touch and go, but ultimately we all passed and were full-fledged train attendants. We were really train operators, but for some reason, because the trains were supposed to be fully automatic, they called us attendants. One of the things we did during training was to walk under the San Francisco Bay. The tunnel wasn't yet completed, so we were shown how it was structured to be highly pliable during an earthquake. I must say, I had to overcome some stomach-clenching trepidations and claustrophobia going down there. But once there, I felt very safe. I was relieved, realizing that I'd be safer during an earthquake on a train in the tunnel than above ground. Being lowest in the seniority ladder, one of my few options was a night shift out of the Hayward station as a test driver. Since I still wanted to go to my film acting workshop, I chose a shift where I worked from 8 at night till 4 in the morning with the Monday and Tuesdays off. My male coworker's response to me was very scary. Because of this, I felt I had to be just one of the guys. So my personality took a dramatic shift, and I came to work in a flannel shirt, distressed jeans, army boots, and a leather bomber jacket. My mouth became so filthy that every other word was fucking shit, cocksucker. It wasn't me, but at least I kept the assholes from coming on to me. Since I was scared and intimidated by their verbal attacks, I felt safer in the cloak of my newfound bravado. I really loved being a test driver, mainly because I was in control. We would do reliability testing, driving the trains back and forth for hours on end, making sure they wouldn't fail. Sometimes we'd drive ourselves, and sometimes the trains would be in automatic. I would work with the engineers who were designing the cars, which felt like I was using my brain and my problem-solving abilities. They also respected my knowledge and insights. To relieve the boredom, I'd get high all the time, which turned the wide open spaces into a fantasy set. My car at the time was a Citroen DS19, and driving home at 4 a.m. on the empty freeway was exhilarating. One night there was a car tailing me. This often happened. A weirdo would notice that an attractive young woman was driving alone in the middle of the night and tail me. I was trying to avoid this guy, driving 80, when the cherry lit up and the cop pulled me over. When I showed him my license, I also pulled out my BART ID. I told him I'd been driving trains at 80 miles an hour all night, and it was a challenge to slow down. He asked me for the number of the HR department so his daughter could apply for a job driving trains, tipped his hat, and let me go. I had clearly chosen the right profession. One night, one of my younger and reasonable non-Teamster workmates and I were ordered to bring a train car back to the Hayward Yard from downtown San Francisco. We got to the Richmond station, uncoupled and recoupled the car, and took off in our 3-car train. My partner was driving, so we got high, and I turned off all the lights in the cars and lay down between the seats. As we drove under the bay through the tunnel, the strobe effect on my hallucinating mind was fabulous. Now that was really a trip. As my seniority increased, I got a day shift, starting work at 7 a.m. Driving people was actually the most stressful part of the job. I completely lost my sense of control. We were trained to act in an emergency. We even had a broom handle as part of our cockpit gear, so in case someone jumped on the third rail, we could pry them off without getting electrocuted ourselves. The idea of catastrophe hung over our heads, but the day-to-day reality was that of absolute boredom. Our only job was to watch the track as the train automatically traveled between stations and to protect passengers. Often, as I leaned out the window in the station, watching that the doors didn't squash anyone, a man would come up to me and say, "Sure you can handle a big train like this, little lady?" It was aggravating and mind-numbing. I was seeing a shrink to feel better, and I'd usually be able to last 20 minutes into my 7 a.m. shift before popping my first Valium. I tried to get my union to let me job share, but they wouldn't hear of it. I also tried to get a leave of absence, but that didn't fly either. I didn't realize at the time, but the class struggle inside me was taking a psychological toll, further eroding my sense of self. Then one day, on my day off, I was riding the train to pick up my paycheck, and I totally flipped out. I broke out in a cold sweat. I couldn't catch my breath, trying to hide my distress from the other passengers. As I was As I was trained in crowd control, I knew that a freakout could snowball. I got off the train as soon as possible, and the white glaring tiles of the station almost blinded me. I skittered around the walls like a crab. Luckily, the station was near the Cine Manifest Collective, so I went there. They had me lean over, put my head in a paper bag to lessen the panic attack, and then took me to my doctor. He said I had an acute panic disorder and I'd have to stop working for at least 6 months. My great experiment in being a foul mouthed worker of the world had failed, but the failure allowed us the time to drive to Minnesota and North Dakota to research our film Northern Lights. But that's another story.
So next we have a monologue, My Life in the Working Class.
That was so wonderful.
It was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Every word was true.
That was going to be my question.
And not only are you a good writer, but a good actress. That's a good, nice combination.
Oh, thank you, Gordon.
I love being on the BART train. Is it true if you lean over and there's like something underneath, you can unlock all the doors?
I don't know if yeah, it is. I mean, that's
Oh, wow.
first built. They probably did something different. I mean, this has been a long time, so
You got to walk through the tunnel under the bay. Did you go all the way from San Francisco to Oakland?
It wasn't open all the way yet.
Okay.
So I was just in part of it that was, the beginning of the Under the Bay, but it was really interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Were you there when they were filming THX?
No.
Okay.
Oh, did they film that in the BART tunnel?
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
they
wow.
did that before I was there.
Okay.
Actually, when it was really, really early.
My only concern is all of the drivers being high or.
Well, when Bart heard about me, I'm not sure how it happened, but they put this story in their newsletter.
Wow.
And we found some really cute pictures of me at that age. Really cute. But they had me take out, of course, all the stuff about being high and all the swearing and all, it had to make them look good. So,
yeah.
But
I mean, I love your filthy mouth.
Now.
Are you still swearing like a sailor?
Only under duress. Not normally, but only. I volunteer with little babies, so there's no need for doing that there.
Yeah.
And Susan, where are you located?
Venice.
Ah.
Okay. Do you have other plays that you might submit here?
I have a one-woman show that I produced a few years ago. And that's dramatic. That's a dramatic, but it's still autobiographical kind of. But it's 20 minutes long, so I didn't think it would work for this format.
Maybe it could work as a part 1 and part 2, Stephen, with that.
Hey, it's possible, or if we have one of those months where we only have one writer submitting something, that could happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this whole piece already written, Susan?
The one I just read?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written and it's been published.
And has it been performed yet?
It's not a performance, it's just a piece to read.
Oh, I think it can be performed.
No, this is the beginning and the end. I mean, this is the second performance of it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I did it for the group
I guess if there was a monologue festival it's just that most monologue festivals, they want you to keep your monologues to like 3 minutes, which is kind of ridiculous, but yeah, if they had longer pieces, it would work in a night. It would work in
right. Yeah. Well, I'll try to look and see if there's anything that's listed.
I've had to submit monologues that were 1 minute long.
Oh no.
Another one is some crazy thing, 40 sentences. I mean, nutty things.
Leslie and I were in a thing in November, and it was 2 minutes, but I swear there was somebody that did something that was 9 minutes. But Leslie and I, we were 2 minutes.
Yes.
You know, the play that Susan and Jerry did last month, Scared Ethel. Um, I submitted that. It was performed. I haven't seen a tape of it, but that was a minute long. I condensed that into a minute, and they liked it, and so it was performed at some school. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like.
In a minute.
Well, I think this could definitely be a one-woman show. Susan will flesh that longer, I definitely think it could.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe when the Fringe Festival comes, I might try to submit.
Maybe.
I did my other piece at the Fringe, so maybe.
I can almost hear the BART train sound effects,
I
that,
thought we could really do something
yeah.
multimedia, right?
Yes.
I tried to wear a train
Kerchief.
kerchief. Thank you.
And my interesting story about BART is that my daughter used to travel from Berkeley to San Francisco where she worked, and she would take the BART. And one time she was bothered by somebody, and they actually had to stop the train.
Wow.
And my daughter talked to one of the officers there and said, well, you got cameras. Why don't you just use the cameras and you can identify the guy. And he told her, well, they only had enough budget to install the cameras.
Right.
They haven't actually hooked them up.
Oh,
That's typical, right?
If you watch the HBO miniseries called Looking, they have a scene, and I can't remember which way it is, but there's a scene on the Muni train, and they use the sound effects from the BART train, which only people who are from that area will know the difference. But it's really jarring if you know if you live there.
Yeah, I hate that.
So that's about covers it, unless somebody else has something they would like to talk about or plug or let us know what's coming up.
Is anybody going to go see Rex's show? Rex has a show here in LA the 28th and March 1st at the Hobgoblin Playhouse or something in Hollywood.
Has he posted it?
He
on
posted something
Facebook
about
he
it.
did.
Okay, all right.
I was thinking about going, but they also have like a digital component, but I have bad luck with the digital stuff. Sometimes I'll pay for my ticket and won't ever be able to log in.
Well,
So I was thinking of going in person.
well, It's Not My Christmas is being streamed on Wednesday, but you still have to purchase tickets.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about the chain theater is they give a code to the screenwriter. And if people
cool.
use that code to purchase tickets, the screenwriter
Wow.
gets a piece of the tickets.
Oh, great.
And the
Okay.
person buying the ticket gets a discount.
So I may go see that.
I have a plug.
Okay.
I made a film many, 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 many years ago that's called Northern Lights,
Okay.
hence the backdrop, that won an award at the Cannes Film Festival. I was a lead actress and a producer on it. And they re-released it. We have a brand new print, and it was re-released last year, and it was in the New York Film Festival year before last. And so it's now available on Prime.
Okay.
Ah,
It was one of the beginning films of the American independent film movement.
Wow.
And it's political, so a lot of people are getting are feeling supported by watching it, are feeling like this could be something positive.
All right.
This could give us ideas for doing something ourselves. So
Okay. Great.
that's a plug.
Definitely look for it.
Great.
Anyone else?
I wasn't going to say anything, but Susan, you just mentioned Prime. So the book that I'm publishing is available on Amazon. actually prime or not prime.
And
Whatever you have. Charlene was talking about us being part of the Faces of America Festival. 2 years ago, I was in it, and this year Charlene was in it, and I actually was one of the playwrights that was
That's
chosen.
right. I knew you were. Yeah, you wrote it this time, but
This time, yeah.
you're like
So
always there.
they have about 500 monologues that come in, and they only choose 25. And
Wow.
so this year was my year to be chosen, and so the monologue is published, and you can buy it now, if you like, or not now, like when we get offline.
and how long were the monologues allowed to be?
They were supposed to be 2 minutes. We were supposed to time it and make sure that it was 2 minutes or less. As Charlene said, there were some people that somehow broke the rules, or maybe the actor just took a lot of pauses.
Well, you
Or
got to
acting.
take a lot of pauses to get up to 9 minutes because I ended up, put the timer on because when I saw it in dress, I thought, this is very long.
But yeah, you can order it. It's called Faces of America Monologue Festival,
Okay.
and actually our pictures are on the cover,
Right.
which is
Good.
kind of exciting.
And I had to post because some guy on Facebook was complaining about 10-minute festivals. He said, how can you write a 10-minute play? It doesn't have an arc. The characters have no development. There's no, backstory. And I said, I write 10-minute plays all the time, and I said, and I believe writing the 10-minute plays have taught me to be more concise in my writing. So that when I write something that's full length, I don't think about 3 acts. I think about it in 10-minute sequences. And that one post got more likes than any other post I've ever put up there. So, yeah.
You can have a wonderful conversation with a person in just 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah. And then I said the ones that keep throwing me off are the 1-minute plays. I haven't even attempted that one. So.
I actually have done that.
I guess it's possible.
Well, East Coasters, y'all stay warm
see.
now and keep out of the snow.
Really, keep warm.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see
Great
you
to
Bye
see
bye.
everybody. Sending
Really
love and
wonderful
light.
work
Seeing
from
you.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.